Live from the Rock Ridge Broadcasting Room at Rock Ridge High School, this is Rock Ridge Rundown.
Good afternoon. I'm Connor, this is Hayden, and this is your Rock Ridge Rundown. Rock Ridge Rundown is your weekly news broadcast put together by the Journalism 1 and 2 classes. We will broadcast live every Friday at 1:50 p.m. Today is Friday, April 10th, and we hope your day is going well. We have several stories to get into this afternoon, so let's get right into it.
On March 27th, Rock Ridge held the first ever United Floor hockey game. Dalton Fitch definitely was the star of the show throughout the day.
Hey Dalton.
Hey,
How are you?
good?
So Dalton, 2 weeks ago, Unified Sports, how'd that go?
It went great. I just scored a lot.
Do you remember how many you scored?
5 times.
Not a kid. How fun was it?
It was just great. I just passing, started doing teamwork and saving and passing and scoring, and then everyone just liked it.
How fun was it having all your friends in the stands watching you?
They just started cheering for me.
Hey Dalton, thank you. Thank you for your time, Dalton.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dalton. The Mesabi East Giants unified team came to compete, and they for sure competed. Another player we should be looking out for is Ian. Ian scored 6 goals in the last game of the day. They would end the day in a tie between all the games taking place on 2 different courts throughout the day.
On the band trip, students departed from Rock Ridge School on March 25th for a week-long stay in Orlando, Florida, staying at one of Disney's themed resorts. Taking multiple coach buses, students traveled to Epcot and marched through the park. After the march, they were left to their individual groups led by chaperones to enjoy many different parks Disney has to offer. After 3 days in Disney, students were taken to the NASA's Kennedy Space Center and then Cocoa Beach. The band traveled from the university studios to once again march. The students, again in their groups, were able to enjoy all that university had to offer, being able to freely travel between the 2 parks. Kevin Schumal states, "This trip is a wonderful opportunity for students to have the experience of marching in a place where you're the center of attention and have the ability to brighten the day of the viewers at these parks."
During this past weekend, the students at Rock Ridge had 4 days off of school for our Easter break. The break started last Wednesday and ended after this Tuesday. During the Easter break, the students of Rock Ridge did many different things, such as getting together with family, having an Easter dinner, painting Easter eggs with watercoloring, as well as doing Easter egg hunts. According to Junior Gage Benz and Chase Morrison, lots of families got together in the cities to have an Easter dinner and catch up with relatives. Easter also marks the end of some people's spring breaks. Many students also spent their Easter break going on vacations to places like Florida to enjoy the warm weather as part of their late spring break, as well as seeing far away and extended family. Now that the holiday has concluded, students are returning to their classrooms feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the rest of quarter 4.
On Monday, the Rock Ridge Orchestra and Choir returned from their trip to Chicago. They were gone from the 26th through the 30th. Over the course of their trip, they went to places like the Field Museum, the Bean, Medieval Times, and even the Hamilton musical. And yes, Ms. Levska, some students did in fact lick the Bean. Here, we have Wyatt Meller with more to say about his experience.
What was your favorite part of the Chicago trip?
My favorite part of the Chicago trip was either going to see Hamilton or going to Medieval Times. Probably Medieval Times because they fed us.
What is your overall thoughts on the city of Chicago?
So Georgia is where the devil goes on business, but Chicago is where he goes to lay down a little bit.
How would you rate the Chicago trip?
I'd give it like an 11 or so, 11 out of 13.
Like all school trips, there were bound to be places that the students didn't enjoy as much, and this was no exception. The many museums were cool for a while, but got old fast, according to the students. But in the grand scheme of things, the experience was still very well received. Although this couldn't have been done without the help of the bus driver and the chaperones that came along with the students. Overall, this was a very successful trip for the students, and they had a great time exploring Chicago.
On Wednesday, April 1st, there was an event that took place at Rock Ridge High School from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. This event was an empty bowl event. Here's Carter Fish with River and Sophie with more.
All right, I'm Carter.
I'm River.
I'm Sophie.
All right, so first question, what is this bowl event for?
Yeah, so the Empty Bowl event is a fundraiser for the Quad City Food Shelf to help people that have food insecurity in the Quad Cities.
Second question, what is the goal for the bowl event?
So our goal is to raise at least $1,000 to go towards the Quad City Food Shelf.
All right, thank you.
After this bowl event ended, the donations raised and they made approximately $1,800 to donate to the Quad City Food Shelf, and also donated 17 meals of soup and bread to the No Hungry Neighbors community meal event held at the Chair every other Sunday. The Quad City Food Shelf serves the residents of Virginia, Eveleth, Gilbert, Mountain Iron, Britt, Cotton, and some from Milwaukee and surrounding areas. After this short break, we will be back with your weather forecast.
Today there's a high of 49 and a low of 21, and it will be partially cloudy. Over the weekend, Saturday looks like a high of 47 and a low of 38 and some rain. Sunday is a high of 61, low of 39 and rain. On Monday there's a high of 59, low of 34, sunny and a chance of thunderstorms. Tuesday brings a wintry mix with a high of 48 and a low of 30. Wednesday has a high of 44, a low of 31 and rain. Next Thursday it will be sunny with a high of 57 and a low of 33. That's all I have for you this week. After this short break, we'll be back with sports.
And now for
Sports with
Tom.
Good afternoon, Rock Ridge. I'm not Pete, but I'm Jack Hughes, and these are your sports reports for the week. The golf teams won't have to wait much longer for the fun to begin. The season has been going on for a couple of weeks now as practices have been taking place. The team's practices, with the resources we have in our 1404 building, have been great so far. They have been lucky enough to use the driving range a few times. It has been cleared. Unfortunately, the teams will jump into competition with many players not having a full round on the course. Sophomore Cruz Greshner says it's been difficult getting our swings dialed in, but I think the boys will pull through and everyone will be ready when that first meet comes around. Despite the little experience for the season, golfers from the high school, junior high, girls, boys, and teams have been making trips down south, trying to get swings in before the season truly begins. Yesterday on the 9th, the girls finally kicked off their season at Bull Rush Golf Course with a meet down in Rush City. The boys only wait a little bit longer as they begin next Tuesday, the 14th, with a meet down in Fargo. The team is lucky enough to be bringing 12 golfers to this meet, still including their top 6. Good luck to all teams, and we hope you start your seasons with a win. On Tuesday, March 31st, our boys baseball team got matched up against the Denfeld Hunters. Here are some words about the game from junior Colton Rowe and junior Jacob Goon.
Alexander, I'm here with
Jacob.
Colton. Alright, so on May 31st was you guys' first baseball game. How did that game go?
It went as kind of expected, just because it's the first game. We're not gonna blow a team out right away, so it's expected to be a close one.
Yeah, it was a good game though. I actually did come watch. It was a very nice game. Coulter, for you, what do you think the rest of the season will go?
I think we have a pretty good schedule. Some tough teams in there, but
They'll be good games. I think we'll dominate this year, I'm pretty sure.
Both teams came into this game looking for a win. Roy Scuffy got the game started with an inside the park home run, then after that it was back and forth. After the 7 innings, the teams were tied at 1, and then Roy Scuffy got the game-winning RBI, so the Wolverines won 2-1 in extra innings. Sports recap for the week. On Monday, the boys had their game against Denfeld with a final score of 3-2. Tuesday, March 31st, the boys and girls varsity track teams had a meet in Bemidji at Bemidji State University, where the boys placed 9th and the girls placed 6th. Wednesday, April 1st, boys varsity tennis had a match versus Cloquet at the Virginia indoor courts with 3 singles and 3 doubles coming out on top. Boys varsity tennis also had a meet against Grand Rapids at the Virginia indoor tennis courts. The boys had 7 wins out of 7 matches. Thursday, April 9th, the girls varsity golf team had an invitational meet at Bull Rush Club. The boys varsity tennis team also had a match against Hibbing at the Virginia indoor tennis courts, with the boys going 7-0 at the end of the night. Upcoming sports. Friday, April 10th, boys varsity baseball has a game tonight at home against Hermantown. Make sure you show up and show out to the game to cheer our boys on. On Saturday, April 11th, varsity speech has a sectional tournament at Duluth, Denfeld at 9 a.m. Boys and girls varsity track head down to St. Francis for an invitational meet starting at 10 a.m. And girls varsity softball has a home game against Cambridge St. P at 2 p.m. On Monday, April 13th, girls varsity softball faces off against Mesabi East at home starting at 4:30. Tuesday, April 14th, boys varsity golf has an invitational meet in Fargo. At 1:30 p.m., boys varsity tennis heads to Cloquet for their matches at 4 p.m. Boys varsity baseball takes a trip to Bemidji to play at 4:30. Girls varsity softball also has a game where they head down to Duluth East to take on the Greyhounds at 4:30 as well. On Tuesday, April 16th, boys varsity tennis has a match against the Duluth Marshall Hilltoppers at the Virginia indoor tennis courts. Best of luck to all our teams with their upcoming games and events. That's all we have for sports this week. This is Jackie Hughes signing off.
And now you're watching Worldwide Wolverines with Let's Go.
And also her class.
Pond hockey might be played all over the world, but the modern movement, yeah, started right here in Minnesota.
In the early 2000s, Minnesota took frozen pond hockey, iced it down, added brackets, and created the International Pond Hockey Championships, the first major event of its kind.
It wasn't just a tournament, it was a vibe. No boards, no whistles, just pure hockey the way it was meant to be played.
And the world noticed. Canada launched mega pond hockey tournaments, Finland, Sweden made outdoor festivals, and Europe copied Minnesota exactly how hockey was meant to be played.
Pretty soon, the frozen lake culture that Minnesota grew up with turned into an international winter tradition.
So the next time you see a pond hockey video from somewhere across the world, remember, there's a good chance a little Minnesota magic is behind it. Minnesota, where the pond hockey movement began.
Students of Rockridge, the final semester is winding down. This is a reminder that you need to get makeup hours in for any missing attendance. Students can't have more than 10 days missing in any given class, or else they will not be eligible to graduate. We have a quick interview with Principal Manny answering some questions you may have about attendance.
To start off, how many absences can students have?
Students can have 10 absences, either unexcused or excused.
How do they make up these absences?
We have time before school with Ms. Savila. We have time after school with Mr. Kowalski, or you can make them up during lunch detention in any of the 3 lunches.
Why is this policy in place?
I know a lot of you probably ask why that is. Well, in life, part of our job as a career academy is to make you show up on time. That's what we do in our jobs. That's what we do in real life. So we have to model that behavior here at school. So I think 10 absences is very fair. So if you have stuff going on like that's medically, you'd get those medically excused. That's different. So those don't count. It's the ones that if either you're just missing or you're skipping or things like that.
How can students check how many absences they have?
You all have power schools. All you got to do is go on your power schools. It'll tell you how many absences you have. So like exempt would be medical, or there's school exempt, because I know a lot of you are in sports and you're going to be gone in April and May because of athletics.
Okay.
Thank you, Manny, for the interview. Attendance makeup will be happening before and after school and during detentions, as he stated. For any parents out there, we highly recommend that you check in and see how many absences your kids have so that they can get credit for their classes. If you have any further questions, you can contact Jill Oja in the counselor's office or Principal Manny.
This week's Wolverine of the Week has been awarded to 8th grader Colton Bion Catio. His activities are hockey and baseball. Some of his hobbies include fishing and hunting. Colton's favorite subject is math. If you see Colton, congratulate him on being this week's Wolverine of the Week. That's all we will have time for today. Remember to catch your Rock Ridge Rundown every Friday at 1:50 p.m. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.